Hi everyone, welcome to your Palms YouTube channel. Childhood trauma signs. In this video, the main signs, indicating that a person experienced a traumatic event at childhood, are presented and discussed. The presented signs relate to a single traumatic event, such as the death of a close relative, or a period during which the person experienced very difficult times during childhood, such as having been abused. In most cases, the childhood trauma would impact the rest of the person's life. It would be like a burden carried by the person throughout life. With professional help, a childhood trauma could remain part of a person's life, but without causing negative impacts. Sign number 1. X at start of the fate line. The presence of an X sign, at the beginning of the fate line, indicates that the person experienced a traumatic event in childhood that left the person struggling with fear and anxiety. Such a trauma at childhood could have resulted from the loss of a close relative. Such a loss would be felt for the rest of the person's life. In this case, the person would be suffering from lack of love and emotional support that would have been otherwise provided by the lost close relative. Another possible cause for such a traumatic event could be a single event of abuse the person experienced at childhood. This sign is negative because the effects are permanent throughout the person's life. Professional help could be required to help the person live with this traumatic event without being negatively affected. Sign number 2. Lifeline starts chained. This sign indicates that the person experienced a very difficult and unhappy childhood. The most common reason would be related to a dysfunctional parental relationship. The person would have suffered throughout the childhood years from lack of love and affection, with the additional negative effects of experiencing domestic disharmony. Such a traumatic event could be a blessing in disguise for the person. With lessons learned, the person would make sure not to cause similar negative impacts on own children. Sign number 3. Lifeline starts feathery. This sign indicates that the person experienced circumstances during childhood that confused the person and caused unhappiness. The most common reason would be related to the parental relationship. In this case, the person would have experienced, during childhood, periods of good times and periods of bad times. The bad times memories would impact the person throughout the life. While this sign remains negative, its impacts are lesser than other signs presented and discussed. Sign number 4. Heartline starts feathery. This sign indicates that the person experienced emotional difficulties during childhood. The most common reason would be related to the parental relationship. In this case, the person would have experienced, during childhood, alternating periods of emotional easiness and difficulties. The emotional difficulties memories would impact the person throughout the life. While this sign remains negative, its impacts are not drastic. Sign number 5. Heartline starts chained. This sign indicates that the person experienced severe emotional difficulties during childhood. The most common reason would be related to parents not loving and caring for the child. The person would have suffered throughout the childhood years from lack of love and affection. The severe emotional difficulties memories would impact the person throughout the life. In the event the heartline starts chained below the Saturn finger, the negative impacts are extremely severe. In this case, the person would be very controlling and very physically demanding in a love relationship. Such conditions would make it hard for the person to sustain a functional relationship with a partner. Professional help is required to help the person live with this traumatic event without being negatively affected. If the heartline starts chained below the Jupiter finger, the negative impacts related to the childhood trauma could be overcome by the person. In this case, the person would be full of love and compassion, what would help a lot in reducing the negative impacts of the childhood trauma. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe to this channel to be notified promptly of new posts. Your opinion matters. Please feel free to add your comments. Goodbye for now.